Good evening, good evening. It is very, very late. It is about 30 minutes to midnight on this Tuesday. I just had a word. I don't know if it's an anointed thought, and we still gonna call it that, but I was just sitting here pondering some things, like hypothetically, just going through some hypotheticals in my mind, and then this word just set in my spirit. Like, oh my stars, you have an interview at the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne, and he asked you about your husband because he sees your ring. I'm not wearing it now because I'm about to go do some stuff. And that just said in my spirit, I was just like, yeah, to condition myself because of the place that I was in at the time. I had to convince myself or create in my own mind that my husband did not exist. Like, there's nobody out here that would love me purely and unapologetically, and there was nobody that I would want that would want me, that will love me with no hidden agendas, nothing like that. There's no man that is out here that if I write everything down and I wanted a man, he does not exist. And this was in like the early 2010s. It was pretty much between 2010 and 2015. Between 2010 and 2015, this man did not exist to me. So I had to condition myself that he can't find me because he doesn't exist. So, yeah, I was perfectly fine and okay with being by myself. Like, I was like, word, bet, I'm gonna be by myself for the rest of my life, and I'm fine with that. So I decided to cultivate my life around me being by myself, taking care of me, what I want, what I need. And I wrote this list down of what I would want. And oddly enough, me thinking, oh, I'm being funny, the Lord was like, okay, you wrote the vision and made it plain. That's all I need you to do. And I don't even know what headspace I was in at that time, but even as I go back over it in my mind, the Lord was like, oh, he don't exist. Okay, what qualities would you want in somebody? So again, I proceeded to write them down, and I left the list, put the list somewhere that I would have to walk by it every day. And of course, when you write the vision and make it plain, oh, okay, so you say this man don't exist? Oh, all right. So between 2010 and 2022, you know what I'm saying? I just left it where it was. I mean, 2021, I just saw, oh, okay, cool. So even still to that, I was just like, and yes, I dated. I had a few boyfriends, you know, dated people, heart got broken, things like that, and then continue to just push myself into this. You just let me be by myself because niggas out here don't want to act right. So I mean, hey. And then just now, he pulled back into my remembrance this movie that I watched years ago, and then I have it now to this day. Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock and I want to say Uma Thurman, or the girl that played Atlanta on Aquaman, his mama. I said, you remember the scene where and they were both sisters, one of the sisters didn't want to fall in love and the other one couldn't wait to fall in love. I said, I remember what the girl did. And they were witches, of course, in this movie in Salem. They were young witches, they didn't know no better. But they had aunties that was teaching them stuff and all that lovely stuff, but that's neither here nor there. But the scene in this movie that just stuck out to me was just like, they witnessed their aunt perform magic for somebody else, and they got two different responses from sisters, and I resonated with the one that was just like, I don't want to fall in love. And her sister caught after that, her sister caught her creating a spell, so to speak, for a love spell, because they had this curse on their family that any man that dared to love them, they ended up dying, because their ancestor, something happened with their ancestor that turned into a curse. A man got her pregnant, left her, and her bitterness, she just turned it into a curse or whatever. It manifested into a curse. So her sister rolled up on her one night and was just like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm creating a love spell. She was like, I thought you didn't want to fall in love. She was like, I don't. So I'm creating a man that does not exist. So if he does not exist, I can't fall in love and he can't die. And even then, I was just like, you know what? Because I don't want nobody to grieve me. Because anybody that I really truly love, I don't want them to grieve me, and I don't want to grieve them. I don't want to die of a broken heart. You know what I'm saying? So I got that even when I was younger. And lo and behold, I didn't even get it until now. That's why I have to record it now, because I don't want to forget it. They went out into the garden, because they lived on the shoreline. They lived too. So after the girl created the spell, she went outside and set it in the flower petals, went up and went on about their business. Now this is when they were little girls. Now they grown now. Lo and behold, oh, matter of fact, I'm sorry, going back. And when she created this man, or went to build a bear, and you know what I'm saying, she said, oh, I want him to have one green eye and one blue. I mean, she just randomly, like literally put things together that normally would not exist. And then the Lord spoke to me. She was like, yeah, well, my spirit said, yeah, ain't that what you did? I said, what do you mean? He was like, she created something that she didn't think existed either. She was a little girl. Didn't you do the same thing when you wrote this list? I said, yeah, but I mean, this is like TV. I'm in real life. Same principle applies. All right, cool. You grown now. So, lo and behold, she meets this man. He comes to her town or whatever, and lo and behold, the thing that she wrote down or created this spell about when she was a little girl, she started to, she was like, oh, I want his favorite shape to be a star. He must know how to flip pancakes in the air. He must be kind. She had 2 girls. By this time, she had already got married and her husband had died or whatever. Lo and behold, this man came over for breakfast one day. Flipped pancakes in the air. Okay. Came over, but his whole reason for being there is because he was looking for the guy that her brother was dating that was killing girls. He was like, oh, I'm a detective, X, Y, and Z. He had a shield and everything. And in the old-timey shield, it was a star. And I'm like, I'm sitting here putting all that together even now, because I'm like, I've watched this movie several times over the years and never put this together. See how the Lord do? See how the Holy Spirit work? But that's neither here nor there. But she didn't really realize who he was until after she looked him dead in his eyes and was like, you have one green eye and one blue. And even as that shocked me, because I'm like, I didn't really make a big deal about all of this until after the fact. And then the Holy Spirit said on me again. He was like, yeah, when you wrote the vision and made it plain, and even went over the list and said it out loud, you put it into the atmosphere. I said, okay. And he was like, even when you went to the movie and it cut to the scene where after she said the spell, the flower petals fell around this boy. And I just sat there, and in my mind, I'm like, yeah, it did. The boy had already existed to begin with. Already was here in the world. He had a birth defect that made his eyes 2 different colors. He is already here. All you have to do is put it out there. Be like, all right, Lord, this is what I want. Okay, I got you. I will send him to you. Or as I grow him up and everything like that, y'all will cross paths. He is out there. All you gotta do is ask for him. I will bring him to you. You to him, so he can find you. And I was just like, yo, hush up. You know, I started to cry a little bit in my spirit. I'm like, okay. So you thought you created somebody that did not exist. But I had already created him before I had formed you and him in your mother's womb, period. I was just waiting on one of y'all to ask me for each other. Okay, who gonna ask first? Okay, who do I need to do for first? Who gonna really get in tapped with what I gave them to ask me and access all of what I have for them? So I was just like, I want somebody with no kids. I want somebody that's X, Y, and Z, over this age, over that. I said, when he brought him to my attention in front of my eyes at the beginning of this year, I was just like, stop playing. He was like, no, I'm serious. I need you to get excited. This is your husband. I said, I'm, hold on, pause. I'm a wife? He was like, hey, I didn't just create you for nothing. I said, but I'm all right being with myself. He said, I understand that and I know that, but that's your husband. And my soul got happy a little bit, but because I'm still in healing phase, I'm just like, I can't exude excitement because I don't want my expectations to be up here and then I end up getting disappointed. So I don't like to get happy about stuff until I can have it in my possession. So that was the anointed thought for tonight. Like, what you ask for, what you need, what you desire, what you require, or something that you don't even believe that's out there, you got to ask the Lord for it. It's already out there. You just got to ask for it, ask him to point you in the right direction to receive it, to get it, to come across it. But you also got to pray for wisdom and knowledge to know how to sustain it and maintain it and to grow it. All right, y'all. I'm finna go to bed. PMS is kicking my ass. Thoughts of the anointed thoughts. Y'all stay gifted and heavily lifted out here. Live long and prosper.